Campaign 2006 is here, and your vote can make a difference. Comcast brings you the candidates on demand right now.
Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Candace Kelly and you're watching a special edition of Comcast Newsmakers Candidates on Demand. Joining me today is independent candidate Herb Tarbous of the 6th Congressional District. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hi Candace, thank you.
I know that election reform is one of your concerns, especially as an independent candidate. You've gone through a few things in terms of how you've been treated along the way. How would you assess it, generally speaking?
Well, generally speaking, I think that the system has been developed and evolved over time to really support only two parties, and the job of an independent candidate to try and get any attention or even any any kind of momentum going on a campaign is very, very difficult indeed.
And why are you running?
Well, I'm running primarily because I wanted to preserve the constitutional right to run. I wanted to get out there and really experience what a third party or a minor party candidate does go through in order to potentially come up with some ideas or recommendations of how to change things. And also to try and inspire others to do the same thing. I'd like to see, my goal is to inspire others to run for legislative elections in New Jersey next year.
Well, obviously you got the number of signatures that you needed to get on the ballot. How has it been going so far in terms of potential voters? How have they been treating you and what have they been saying?
Well, primarily I'm a regular citizen who's making trying to make a living, and I'm not a professional politician. And so I really haven't done any formal campaigning. And again, that's part of the system. The system of money and politics are so intertwined. And that's part of what I'd like to see change is a way to try and start removing the influence of wealth on our political system.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the issues that are on your platform, energy and foreign policy. What are your concerns about that? Well,
obviously we have this addiction to oil that's been around for decades, and about 1/3 of our energy consumption is used in transportation, moving people and things around our country. And we've been using basically the same paradigm of cars, traffic lights, highways, ramps and stuff for many years. And I believe there are many people working on intelligent transportation systems and things along those lines that would help us to reduce our energy consumption and also increase productivity, especially here in the state of New Jersey, where we have such a dense transportation network. And I believe that that will help to reduce our addiction on oil. And the money that we spend on oil goes to these foreign governments that are creating a lot of instability in the Middle East. And it's very tightly coupled, and I'd like to see us start moving in a direction to reduce that addiction on oil.
Do you think that there are certain issues that haven't been addressed by the two primary parties? You as an independent probably would see that perhaps there's a gap that needed to be filled, and you said that's why you were encouraged to actually run. What are the issues that you think aren't being addressed, or are they being addressed in the way that you would not address them?
Well, I think going back to election reform, there is an issue of election reform corruption amongst the major parties, and for the most part, there's a lot of lip service done to campaign finance reform in Washington, but nothing really ever substantial happens. And that's really what I think I want to get on the radar with running for Congress, is to just kind of raise the red flag and say, look, there's another way to do this. We don't have to keep doing the same thing we've done in this current two-party system, this two-party machine that's been basically rolling over us for decades and decades.
And for people who don't know who you are, what would it be that you would say people should know about you in terms of how you do business and how you would govern? What do they need to know about you?
Well, I think that I'm a fellow that grew up in New Jersey, and I've strived to always build consensus among people. I've often been sort of a peacemaker or like a referee, and I think that's really the job of, I think that's the next stage of leadership in our political system will come from someone that can kind of bridge the gap between these two extremes that we have and start to build a consensus, potentially in the middle.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us, and good luck during the election.
Thank you very much.
This hour's newsmaker has been Herb Tarbous, independent candidate for the United States Congress in New Jersey's 6th Congressional District. This has been a special edition of Comcast Newsmakers Candidates on Demand. To see all of the candidates when it best fits your schedule, go to the Get Local section of Comcast Digital's on-demand service on October 20th through Election Day.